North Idaho College proudly presents NIC Today, an informational news magazine that highlights the people, programs, and campus life at North Idaho College and the surrounding community. And now, your host and moderator, President of North Idaho College, Dr. Joe Dunlap.
To NIC Today, the program that brings you the people and the programs of North Idaho College. Today we have with us three special guests. First of all, Marie Price, our Director of Workforce Training. Marie, welcome to the program. We also have Christine Callison, who is the Director of our outreach programs in Bonners Ferry and Sandpoint. Christine, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we also have Rose Woodford, who is the Director for the outreach program in the Silver Valley in Kellogg, Idaho. So Rose, welcome.
Thank you.
So to start off the program, we're going to talk to Christine and Rose about the outreach centers, the role that they play, how they serve students and other members of the community. So Rose, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this position, and what the outreach center in Kellogg does.
Well, I started working for the Silver Valley Outreach Center 2.5 years ago as the adult basic education and GED instructor. That spring we graduated 26 students very successfully. 10 of those went on to NIC programs and were admitted into the college. So we felt pretty successful. When the interim position opened up, to me it was just a natural transition to be able to move in there and start being part of the solution for providing college education, higher education for people in rural areas like the Silver Valley.
And so Rose, are you originally from the Silver Valley?
I am not. I'm originally from Eugene, Oregon.
Okay. And how long have you lived in the Silver Valley?
I've lived in the Silver Valley for 6 years. I
Okay.
was a principal and superintendent at schools in Montana, and then also ran up to Alaska and worked in Bush, Alaska for a while.
Which part of Alaska?
Oh, up above the Arctic Circle in Fort Yukon and also in Norvik.
All right, so you're in the banana belt now then.
I am, yes.
Well, good. Well, welcome, Rose.
Thank you.
And Christine, you manage two centers, Sandpoint and Bonners Ferry. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to this position, and about the two centers.
Well, thank you. I have been with North Idaho College for almost 10 years, and I had the privilege of opening the Bonners Ferry Center when it was brand new. And about 2 years ago, I took over management of the Sandpoint campus as well. So now I serve a dual role, going back and forth between the Bonner and Boundary County outreach centers, and it's been very exciting to see it come to fruition as far as the services and classes that we can provide in the regional area, and tying it all together with our campus in Coeur d'Alene and Silver Valley, offering non-credit programs with workforce training. It's a comprehensive program, and we're proud to do it.
You go back and forth on that road an awful lot between
Yes, I
Bonners
do.
and Sandpoint. Talk to us a little bit about the differences between the two counties. I mean, one in Boundary County, one in Bonner, and there's different populations, but how do you do that with your approach with the two centers?
Well, it's really a matter of thinking holistically about what North Idaho College can do and finding ways to connect the dots for students. Obviously, Sandpoint is a larger community, it's a larger campus, so there's greater capacity for things that we can offer in that area. That benefits Boundary County students as well. For instance, we have a wet science lab in Sandpoint. We have a lot of students from Boundary County that utilize that. So it's really a matter of just thinking wide lens as far as how we can serve regionally and provide opportunities for students to migrate back and forth between the locations according to what they need.
Well, last year the outreach center served between 500 and 600 students. And most folks have the sense that students go to the center, take a class, and that's the extent of the services you provide. So Rose, can you tell us what other services the Outreach Center in Kellogg provides, not only to our students, but to the community at large?
Well, we're offering the adult basic education and GED programs. We do proctoring for the testing when people don't want to come over the hill to do the testing. We did over 400 to date this year, and we haven't even gotten through finals. So we also work with a lot of the, we've got a lot of partnerships that we're doing. The Silver Valley Economic Development, we're just now partnering with Shoshone Medical and talking to them regarding what services they might need, some coursework that they might need to fill some of their positions in the medical field. You know, working with all the high schools, doing dual credit. We tripled our dual credit enrollment.
Super. Congratulations.
So, thank you. Thank you. And so that's a lot of the services that we're doing.
You get, as Joe mentioned, you get a lot of community folks coming through there, and it's more than just someone taking a health or fitness class. You really, it seems to me, last time I was there, you become kind of a hub in the community, as we see in Bonners and Sandpoint too, for people gathering there and just an atmosphere of learning. How do you approach that in balancing the needs with the students, with community members, and there's always seems to be a struggle of how much effort you can spend in each area?
You know, it just doesn't seem like a struggle for us. Everybody just is there to try to help each other and to work through and kind of decide what we need. We just put in a brand new student center. So that has kind of been the little catalyst that's kind of brought everybody together. Go downstairs, they can relax, they can study together, they can put in a movie, they can play ping pong. So I think coordinating all that and bringing it together, that's really helped us out at the Kellogg Center.
Do you find the same in Sandpoint and Bonners? With community members really trying to, when they come in, they're really there, not only for themselves, but to help the students that are coming through?
It really has been a collaboration. I would agree with what Rose has shared as far as people coming together for the common purpose of learning. We serve a very mixed demographic, a lot of dual credit high school students, adult learners, people that are just looking to enhance some workforce skills, or senior citizens that want to take a community interest class. They really just appreciate the access that they have with their local centers. It is a hub for lots of different types of activity, and it's exciting to see that. And it really isn't a struggle, as Rose says. It's a natural sort of progression. The community is very supportive of what we do. They're very engaged with what we do, and very appreciative of everything North Idaho College can offer.
Christine, you mentioned that there's a science lab at the Sandpoint Center, and I believe that with the addition of that science lab, it allows students the opportunity to receive an associate's degree without ever having to come to Coeur d'Alene. So in what areas can students receive that associate's degree?
Well, the general associates is something that they can now easily do with the addition of the wet science lab. And that's very exciting, because in the past that was always the most difficult piece of the degree, to meet those credit requirements at a distance. So a student can take outreach classes at the center, they can do dual credit classes through the high school, they can take online classes, and usually they do a combination of all of those things. And then with the science lab in Sandpoint, they can explore some other fields like biology, chemistry is available, geology. In the spring semester of 2016, we are adding environmental science for the first time. So again, just providing more opportunities and choices for people in the northern counties.
And that science lab came about because of a need identified within the community, and the community came together and raised $150,000 to through donations to put that science lab in place. And that speaks to the value of education, and that the community members really want to be a part of the institution, and the value that a degree will bring for their local area.
No, that community engagement piece is, community engagement is one of our 5 core values, and so the work that's being done in these outreach centers is really part of that. It's also legislatively mandated. A lot of people will get the question, they'll say, well, what are you doing up in the North Counties? What are you doing out in Silver Valley? You should be taking care of things here in Kootenai County. That's where my tax dollars are coming from, is Kootenai County. And while we are charged with that, the legislature also charges with delivering those educational opportunities for those 5 northern counties. So thank you for your efforts. It's outstanding. There's obviously great success and work coming. What do you attribute that growth in dual credit to? I mean, you've tripled in Kellogg. You were way up in the northern counties. Overall, as an institution, we're up over 20% in dual credit. What do you think, what's the driving reason behind that?
I think part of it is the communication. I think we're getting that word out there. When I started a couple of years ago, people would say, oh, I didn't know you had NIC in Kellogg. We're getting that word out there, and that's part of one of our goals, is to make sure that communication lines are open for everybody that's in the Silver Valley. So I think that's key.
That's awesome. Well, part of community engagement is also hosting events on all of our campuses, be they in Bonners Ferry or Sandpoint or the Silver Valley or Post Falls. And one of the events that is hosted annually on the Coeur d'Alene campus is the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, in which the students play a very vital role. Here's a look at this year's Komen Race here on the campus of North Idaho College.
For all your hard work and everything you did for us to design the shirt. We love the shirt, and there's one in here for you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so thank you very much.
The design was inspired by the Susan G. Komen official design, and we used the cardinal to create a new design and show that we are all here to fight cancer and support anyone who's dealing with that.
We're doing this race to support everybody who has cancer, who's fighting cancer, and we just want to get the word out.
NIC has been doing Cardinals Against Cancer for years as a way to support folks who struggle with breast cancer in our greater community. But more personal, my sister-in-law is a cancer survivor, and we're celebrating a year cancer-free this year.
By our students in Philippe Val's graphic design program. As you see, the piece was produced by a student from nearby Timberlake High School that's here taking advantage of opportunities at NIC, and of course the logo design from students. So Joe, a lot of faculty and staff in some of that footage, a lot of community members and folks engaging here on the community in the fight against cancer. That was a very good day.
You bet. Thank you, Mark. And I was remiss earlier by not introducing Mark, and so I'm going to take that opportunity now.
I'll be just fine.
With us today also is Mark Browning, our Vice President for Community and Governmental Affairs, and he also oversees marketing and communications for the college. So, Mark, a belated welcome. It's always glad to always glad to have you here.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, let's turn our attention to Marie Price and the Workforce Training Center, which is located in Post Falls. Now, the Workforce Training Center provides non-credit, typically short-term training that provides individuals skills to go to work. And so, Marie, tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been here, and what the Workforce Training Center does.
Well, thank you, Joe. I've been with the NIC Workforce Training Center for 10 years, and about the last 6 years I've been the Director for Workforce Training and Community Education, overseeing all of the programs that are produced out of that unit of the college. And currently we are very busy with grants and programs and staying engaged with the community so that we can meet those educational needs throughout the region, and especially delivering just-in-time training for the jobs that are available and the businesses that need a workforce in our region.
It's really that connection, it seems like, for, you know, one of the colleges, we keep going back to our core values, but to be part of that engagement is to provide to the industries here, and that's really where your link comes in, because to set up 4-credit academic programs takes, that's a process. It takes a little while, but you're able to get that short-term training. How closely do you work then with these businesses? Is this something that, you know, you have periodic contact? I would imagine you'd be in very close contact with those folks all the time.
That's a really important piece of what we do, is staying engaged with industry and the community so that we really understand what the needs are and where the jobs are and what the workforce is that's available and how we can move them into the skills that are required for the work available. Our mission at the Workforce Training Center is to offer lifelong learning to enhance the economic self-sufficiency, business productivity, and quality of life of citizens in our community. And we do that by delivering over 600 classes to over 4,600 individuals every year. Last year we had over 7,000 enrollments in our classes. We provide that through customized and open enrollment classes, as well as apprenticeships and on-the-job training and externships.
And Marie, although you operate a self-sustaining model, you also have been very successful in obtaining grants to support these programs. For example, the Forestry Products Grant, which brought in 3 different programs, the Mine Safety Grant that allows us to work with safety inspectors and mines throughout the state, and then a mental health technician program. And so can you tell us a little bit about the grant programs that you operate as well?
Absolutely. We recently received $374,000 from the state of Idaho and our industry partners, which are Idaho Forest Group, Stimson Lumber, and Potlatch Corporation. They actually contributed cash for the grant to help us train a pipeline of workers into the wood products manufacturing industry. And to date, we've trained over 110 participants in either log scaling, programmable logic controllers, which is advanced manufacturing, or saw filing, creating certifications and standards for a long-standing skill set that hasn't been well documented in terms of certifications and standards, so in benchmarking that.
Someone told me, and maybe it was you that we were having this conversation, but Idaho is one of the few states in the country that now requires that certification, meaning our employees that are certified here, I think now are in greater demand. Is that a fair statement?
We're developing those standards for benchmen, filers, and head filers so that they have an actual certification, working with the Intermountain Saw Filing Association, and we're the first in the region and we're even in the United States to develop those standards for that industry. There's a huge need. That's always been kind of tribal knowledge, is how do you sharpen saws that cut the wood that comes through those facilities, a very highly dangerous and highly skilled, highly detailed job. And so by having standards, there is a formal training in place to know if an individual is gaining the skill sets they need to be competent on the job and moving up into the higher management type jobs.
Idaho is one of 2 states in the nation that requires certification for log scalers. Okay. And so that's one of the programs and certifications that Marie has put in place. Marie, tell us a little bit about this mine safety program.
Well, we're very thrilled to have the mine safety program for the entire state of Idaho. We received the grant in July of 2015 this year. It's renewable annually, and the goal is to reduce accidents and deaths in the mines by providing new miner, experienced miner, and refresher training to all surface and underground mines throughout the state of Idaho. There's 146 mines in Idaho. Wow. Only 9 are underground. And so there's thousands of miners that need to be trained every year, as well as contractors. Contractors are not allowed on a mining site unless they've had training, because they too can be exposed to dangers. And actually a lot of times it's the contractors who are involved in accidents.
You say 140 some on, 146 mines statewide. Typically, we always think of mining as a North Idaho centric activity, but the southeastern part of the state mines a lot of phosphate for agricultural use. So your program is now covering the entire state.
That's correct, and even out of state. So we'll be partnering with our institutions, Down College in Southern Idaho, College of Western Idaho, Twin Falls, Boise, and Idaho State University will be partnering to bring those training programs to the miners in those regions of the state.
Marie, what kind of programs do you see on the horizon in terms of new programs that you might be considering implementing?
Well, one of the hot areas in terms of aerospace is unmanned vehicles, and we have partnered with ADAVSO, a company out of Southern Idaho, Advanced Aviation Solutions, to develop UAV pilot training so that individuals who are considering using UAVs for commercial use have the training they need to safely recover in the case of automation failure, to learn how to use the software to accomplish the data recovery that they desire to have, and in order to make decisions out of what the data aggregate that they receive.
It's more than just someone standing there with a controller. These are larger, very complex machines, and it's that field of drone and unmanned air flight it's fascinating. How much more potential beyond that do you think there is?
There's an amazing amount of potential to use unmanned vehicles for things like pipeline research and ensuring safety for all kinds of bridges and power plants and things like that. So instead of sending somebody up a pipeline or across an electrical line, you can send a drone and have a much safer environment and get the same kind of data.
Outstanding. So sometimes the three of you are kind of the hidden jewels, if you will, within NIC. There's so much going on at workforce training that's going on in Sandpoint and Bonners and Silver Valley. Who keeps all this going? Who keeps you guys all going down the same path here? I would imagine there's a lot of talk, a lot of email back and forth, but how do y'all strategize and just keep moving forward and saying, okay, we're going to pick this up, or oh, we'll take that, I could use some help here?
It is honestly a constant collaboration. We couldn't do what we do in Bonners Ferry without being in touch with Sandpoint and Kellogg and Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls. All of it is important because the more we collaborate with our campus colleagues, the more we can deliver in outreach. For instance, I know in Sandpoint we regularly offer non-credit workforce training programs. There's a critical need for that. We regularly fill those classes. It's a great supplement to every other credit class that we can make available. But none of that happens if I don't communicate with Marie and her staff on a regular basis. I know that Rose and I communicate daily about class schedules and needs with testing and a lot of other things. It's really a constant connection. And thank goodness for technology, it makes it possible.
That it does. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when it works.
Yes.
Yeah, when it works. Which, yeah, we're all kind of slave to the technology. I'm trying to do math, which is always a challenge, but I'm thinking more than a quarter-century experience between the three of you here. It's really valuable. Thank you for your contributions to the campus, because it's the people, and Joe says this all the time when he opens up the program. This venue, this program, is about the people who make the programs work. So thank you for all your efforts there, and to your staffs back there. They don't get recognized nearly enough. So
Well,
what you're doing.
and also in relation to what Christine was talking about, this business is all about relationships, not just relationships within the college, but within our community. And community engagement is one of our core values. And so we work with business and industry. We work with governmental agencies, granting agencies, foundations, higher education institutions. And it's a very unique dance we do to coordinate and collaborate for resources, for programs to better serve our students. And that's really the bottom line. How do we better serve our students, meet their needs, and also meet the needs of our community? Rose, So what's on the horizon for the Kellogg Center?
We're able to offer more courses now.
Okay, great.
So we're excited about that. I think we're actually partnering and having with this mining grant.
Yes.
And
Perfect.
be able to bring some of that training and stuff
Absolutely.
there too. So we're excited.
As we wrap up today, I just, again, thank you. You know, we look at the future of the college strategically, and it's the students coming in, and when we see 20% more, triple in some cases, but college-wise 20% more of dual credits coming through the high schools, we know that those students will be coming our way in certain numbers in the future. And thank you for all the work that you're doing to prepare, because it really is, it's those students who will go out into the workforce, and they'll be taking care of the businesses that'll be taking care of us in our latter years. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, and thank you for joining us today on NIC Today. We hope you'll continue to take a look at us on Channel 19 in Coeur d'Alene. And I'd like to thank our guests, Christine, Rose, and Marie, and of course, Mark Browning. We really appreciate all you do for our students and our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.